Hi, I'm Kylie, and I'm a mom to two, and I'm also a former firefighter, EMT, and labor, surgical, and birth tech. And I struggle with mental health. I have been struggling with mental health my whole life because I was raised by someone who struggled with mental health. She didn't want me. She made sure I knew it. And now as a parent, I'm gaining empathy for her because I also am struggling with mental health. And I'm finding that it's really hard to find the support and the education and the community as a parent. When you become a parent, you're suddenly isolated from people because no one gets what you're going through. Resources for education are limited to social media where you don't know who's legitimately a doctor or professional, or they're just saying they are and they're spreading misinformation for an agenda. Or you need to pay in time and money for actual courses to learn about your options as a parent, which can make going into labor and birth really scary because if you're not educated, things can happen to you. You're not going to know what's going on and you feel out of control and like you don't have any autonomy over your body. And that can lead to birth trauma, which leads to poor mental health outcomes. Not saying we can completely eliminate mental health crisis in the US or around the world, but we can definitely help it through community education that people can trust because we've vetted the providers and access to those providers. If you find someone you really like, you can go to their profile and hire to work with them in person and actually get support. Another key feature that's been left out of the birth space and growing a family is partners. They're often just like thrown to the side and expected to figure it out. And this is leading to violence. We need to change that. Our app is made to include partners from day one. So they also have support from community providers and have access to education on what they're getting into and what to expect and how they can show up and how they can help themselves. It's so important. Working on the ambulance, there are so many scenarios where I can vividly remember bad outcomes because parents don't have support. Parents don't have education. Parents are just expected to walk out of the hospital and be in charge of this little life and do a good job with next to nothing. It's insane. Professionals go to school, they get education, they get experience, and that's why they're professionals. Parents are just winging it. And Wild Womb is trying to make a platform where you can get all the support you need, whether it's education, it's community, it's access to providers, it's resources and tools to track your pregnancy, to track the milestones of your growing child, resources such as the foundation that we want to launch, which is so important to me. This is my main goal in life is my foundation because money makes change. People are dying. Kids are dying and legislation's failing us and money makes change. So while my business is here to help people, it's also here to build something bigger because I'm tired of waiting for somebody to do it. When I worked on the ambulance, I went on a call, and I think of this call every time I step up and work on my business. It was to an unconscious person. And when we got there, we did vitals, as you do on every unconscious person. Her sister had come home and found her unconscious, and we did vitals, found that the blood sugar was low, not just like slightly low, but like the glucometer read LO, which means it was below 30. This person we treated became conscious, and she told us that she's been rationing her insulin so she can feed her kid. And she was 8 months pregnant. She lost that pregnancy. My mission in life is to provide resources to parents. It is absolutely ridiculous that any parent has to decide between feeding their kids and taking care of themselves. Happy, healthy parents create happy, healthy kids. Can't be happy and healthy if you don't have access to care, if you don't have access to food, if you don't have access to providers, if you don't have access to community to show up for you. You can't be happy and healthy if you don't have help. And that is my goal. We're creating the app to help families. And then once we create a predictably profitable business, we're going to move on and build a foundation, and we're going to direct our profits to make sure that families get the basic necessities taken care of. Because legislation's just not cutting it at this point, and someone needs to step up. Everyone says that you have a right to spend your money the way you want whenever people are talking about billionaires, and this is how I want to make and spend my money. Make and spend my money to make sure that there are less parents and children dying across the world.